What's up, everyone? Welcome to Unmasked, where things are discovered, uncovered, brought to the light, and made known. I'm your host, Lamar Barrett, coming live to you from PG County, Maryland. If you're interested in finding out about the untold stories behind being a college coach, this is the show for you. Being a former assistant men's college basketball coach for 16 years, there are so many untold stories behind the scenes in the life of a college basketball coach. Now, let's unmask them. Today's guest is a young and bright assistant coach, a future head coach in the business in my eyes. I've followed him ever since he's been a basketball player. We had an outstanding college basketball career at Syracuse University. So he came from the West Coast to the Northeast. And then he's also a former NBA player and a South Central LA, California native, Jason Hart. Now, let me tell you about his bio a little bit. Jason, like I said, started Syracuse University for 4 years. Got drafted out of Syracuse 2000 by the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round. From there, he played 10 years professionally in the NBA, 9 of those in the NBA, 1 year over in Greece. Very fortunate to still be in the United States for 9 of those 10 years, where he had a very good career. And then once he was done playing, he got into coaching, where he was coached AAU on the AAU circuit before becoming the head coach at Taft High School in California in 2011-12 season. And from there, he went to Pepperdine for 1 season, 12-13. And now he's currently at University of Southern California, where he's been there since the 2013 year, just finished up his 7th season, 3 years as the associate head coach. I want to welcome to the show, Jason Hart.
Thank you for having me, Lamar. I appreciate it.
All right, man. We're going to get right to it, man. Let's go ahead and get unmasked. First question I like to ask, because you came from being a player, and even though you coached, AAU for a year, AAU and then coached high school, now you're thrown into the mix. You've been on the side of a player, but now you go into college coaching. There's no handbook to being a college coach. Tell me about that first day, the first week, first month, after things are done with human resources and orientation, like, especially when no one gives you direction. What was that like?
Well, it was a learning experience because I was at a smaller school, Pepperdine, so the pressure of recruiting or having to deliver the top players wasn't prevalent. But it was also just a learning experience in seeing how African-American student athletes, how they're treated and how they're viewed on campus from a coach's point of view, being a former player, and having to bond with those guys and try to build that trust with them so quickly. So that first week was kind of like a whirlwind, but it was needed, and it taught me a lot about from the player point of view and the coach's point of view as well.
Awesome, man. And Pepperdine is not a bad place to be, man, up in Malibu. That's not a bad place to be. We all know that recruiting, man, is the lifeline of college athletics. You got to recruit good players, good people in order to be successful and get wins in this game. I'm gonna say get to win in this business. What was your best and worst recruiting stories that you remember since you've been in college coaching?
Well, your best is getting those student athletes who understand the importance of education, the ones that come in with goals of trying to become professionals, but also professionals off the court. And just that bondhood, that brotherhood that you have with these parents, that turns into lifeline relationships. That's been the satisfaction for me in recruiting. The worst part is when you get players, you recruit them, you spend a lot of time, and unfortunately, they go to other schools. You just don't get the courtesy and the call and say, "Hey, coach, I appreciate you. I'm gonna go to this school." So that's the letdown of it. I do get it, but it just, sign of respect. Sometimes you wish more people had it.
Awesome answer right there. Like you played professionally, so you were away. So you understand that part of it. Now you get into college coaching. Like, what did you have to give up achieving your current level of success?
In terms of what? Like, what
family time, internet, like what like the things of that? Because we know that, college coaching is, it's almost 365. I say 15 hours a day. It's not a lot of breaks. You go on vacation, you're really not on vacation because you're trying to set up unofficial visits and things like that. Like, like you when people say, are you coming to the All-Star weekend, or are you going to the Super Bowl? Like things like that. Like what do you think you have to give up for your level of success?
Well, to be at that level that you're talking about in becoming a head coach, you give up family time. You give up precious days in raising your kids. I have two sons, 17 and 13. And a lot of times they spend with their mother. Obviously I'm married. So it's tough, man. You sacrifice that, but you're also sacrificing so your family can be secure, have a place to live, and raise your family in a decent neighborhood. But the most important thing is we give up family time, and sometimes you can't get that back.
Awesome answer, man. Now we all know this too, scouting reports. Like those are big, they're huge. They're like, you got to be prepared, get your team prepared. And a lot of times you always can tell like who scouted is, because that's when they're most invested. Like some guys are in charge of offense, defense, but it's the times that, you might have the best scouting report, you prepared your team, you think the game plan is in order, and they go out and they don't play well. And sometimes there might be some things you forget, or you forgot, or like you might mention, man, this guy's made 3 out of his last 35 shots. He really not you make the sin early when you say he can't shoot, because guys don't understand when you say he can't shoot, they think you should play off of him. But if you tell, say, coach, he hasn't made shots, he's not really a good shooter, then he makes 3 or 4 in the game, and you like, head coach turning around looking at you like, can't shoot, huh? But what was your best and worst scout report you think you've had?
Well, the best ones is not all the time when you win. I just think that we put a lot into our scouts and going over their plays, their tendencies, who can shoot, who can't shoot. But at the end of the day, open people kill you, not the play, right? So for me, just having our guys prepared and knowing what's about to happen before it does, and just planning to them how it's going to be. Winning those games when the guys come to you after your scout and say, man, great job. You put time into it and they appreciate it. The worst scout is when you come out and you thought you went over everything and they don't execute and you lose the game. And so that taught me as a coach, scouting is important, but it's also taking less pressure. At Syracuse, we didn't do all that. We played a 2-3 zone. Boeheim focused on us and never the other team. So, for coaching, for different coaches, it's different strokes. But I think the less is more. These guys got so much going on in their head. Less is more. And that's what I'm learning. I'm growing as a coach. Just give them that much as possible and have them go out there and play fun and guard. Don't leave people open.
I love that answer, man.
Open people kill you all day.
What's the biggest challenge you think you've experienced since you have become a college coach?
The biggest challenge was our FBI scandal 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It affected everybody. It affected families. It affected everybody, and it was a situation to where nobody knew nothing. Nobody was told this, that. So it was definitely one of the toughest challenges for me, and just dealing with that, the unknown. But it also taught me that this big business is bigger than what I thought. At the end of the day.
So true, man. Do you ever find that there are things about you that people misunderstand? Like, what are they?
Well, I think people misunderstand that I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother. I'm more than just a basketball coach, and then that's on that side. And then, as far as the world, I'm more than just a recruiter. We always try to shake the label of just recruiter. I want to be known as a great in-game adjuster. I want to be known as a great communicator. I want to be known as a great tactician. I just think that shaking the label of just being a recruiter is my responsibility when people put their title on me. So I want to be known as a great coach.
Awesome, man. Now, we all know we're in this business to educate young men. You had guys when you were at Syracuse who did that, or even guys in your past, before you even got to Syracuse, high school coaches or, travel coaches or things of that nature. What do you try to teach your players besides basketball?
Well, I just try to teach them that in the end, you got to have an end game. That whatever college you pick, obviously our student athletes at SC, it's a 40-year plan. And so the responsibility of not walking around here being a butthole or being a jerk, because the moment your pro career is completed, you're going to go back to where you went to college at. And you want people to be able to work with you or you want to work with them. So don't be a butthole. Be gracious. Speak to people now while they still care about you. Because the moment you leave, don't nobody care about you anymore. You're just another athlete. So
that's good. Keep going. I hear you.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's just living a life of respecting everybody. And I try to teach that. And then the second thing is no excuses. Coach, I'm tired. I got study hall. I got weights. Well, I did the same thing. So we in the same boat, and it can be done. I graduated in 4 years, just like you're going to. And you just try to make them eliminate excuses, because with excuse follows another one. It follows another one. And now that turns in blame. So we just try to eliminate that early on and make you be accountable and a man.
That's great. That's a great gem right there. People need to listen to that statement you just made. What are your best and worst memories in coaching?
Well, one of the worst memories in coaching was when we first took over at UCLA. We played a couple bye games when we first got a job in 2013, and we was 8-2 going into that UCLA game, and then we ended up losing about 50 or 40 something. And it taught me that we had a lot more work to do and that you need talent. Because, again, the scout was good. The guys ate pregame. We stretched them out ready. But at the end of the day, it's the Jimmy and Joes. And it just taught me that you have to have a plethora of a talent and you got to do it fast. That was the worst. The best was, coming up 30 seconds short of going to the Sweet 16 in 2016-17 season. It was a high. You get a lot of publicity, a lot of love, and that's a feeling that you always chasing. We haven't got back there yet, but that was one of my highest college moments, being that close to getting to the Sweet 16 as a coach.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. What is the strangest thing a player has done outside of the basketball court?
Man, these kids I won't say these young men, sometimes they can be a little crazy. But the strangest thing, and you caught me off guard with that one, man. I can't. One of our players, man, left his uniform at the hotel. And I thought that was very strange because it was like, damn, do you really want to play? We here for basketball. When we out of town, we here for basketball. We're not going to class. And for you to forget your uniform, I think you really didn't want to play that day. So that was dang sure the strangest thing that I've seen in my coaching period. You forgot your uniform at the hotel.
Yeah, that is strange right there.
Very.
Now, like I said, I think you're going to be a hell of a head coach one day. You're not interviewing for a job right now for so the coach don't think you're interviewing. But what are you looking for in a program once you become? What do you think that or what are you looking for you to be successful as being a head coach?
Well, for me, man, I'm looking for a program that supports African American coaches and can see their vision and understand them and where their culture come from and how we came up in this business. I'm looking for a program that's about winning. It's about the development of student athletes and helping raise them to become respectable men in the community within the college framework. I'm also looking for a president and athletic director who's open for dialogue and changing the communities of the African American student athletes, players, their well-being, families, and just looking for somebody that could support my vision and have the same passion as winning as I do. Just looking for a marriage, but also one that we can work together when it's going to be disagreements.
But I agree with you 100%. Everybody has to be on board. Yeah. From administration on down, athletic administration, everything has to be on board, man. Like you said something about you guys' experience, a few seconds away from going to Sweet 16. But what's the biggest accomplishment you've experienced since you become a college coach?
Watching every player that we've recruited graduate, having 100% graduation rate at the college level. In USC, it's a tough academic school. being able to brag about that where we don't have any academic scandals, no coaches is turning no papers in, none of that crap. So that's what I'm bragging on. I'm bragging on that we graduating our players in 4 years and they're going on to have a pro career. But more importantly, when they came for academics as a freshman, they completed the assignment. So I'm bragging on that. That's what I'm bragging on, that part right there.
That's an awesome answer, man. Awesome. Yeah, 100% graduation. That's really that's excellent. That's what I say.
What it's about. I mean, going to school, that's what it's about.
So true. This will throw you for a loop because I know this is a pandemic and all this going on. Like, what movie or TV show title best describes your week?
T.I. Family Hustle. Me and my wife, that's our show. You know, T.I., I love listening to him with them big words. You know, he's king of the big words, but I love how he's a family man, father, and how he try to protect his community. So that's a show I'm watching consistently. And then ESPN, they always having these boxing matches now with no fans. So I've been studying that. I've become a boxing fan right at this point because not really much sports is on TV.
I like the T.I. actually played The King is Back about 35 times the other night just to hear the beginning part in the intro. I thought about that just when you said that.
T.I. something serious, man. He's a man with a plan and he has a cause, and I, you know, you want to support brothers like that, and I watch his show.
So true, so true. What's your favorite word or phrase that you use?
So on defense, we always want our players to talk. So one of the things we say is you got to talk on defense. So you got to do what you say, and then you have to say what you do. They go together. So, you know, I got to do it, and I'm gonna say it, and vice versa. So, you know, do what you say and say what you do. Be a man of your word.
Powerful right there. I like that. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
The best piece of advice, when I was a rookie, I played in Milwaukee, and I played Irvin Johnson, center. He was my vet. He and I still have a good relationship. And he told me, man, and I learned early told me to come to work, do the best you can, and go home. And that meant you don't have to come here and kiss no butt and try to suck up to people to get what you want to get in life. And I still use that to this day. I want to go and do the best job to my ability and go home. I don't want to have to be something other than a man to get a goal accomplished. So I still take that to this day. I'm gonna stand on my own 10 toes and I'm gonna do the best job I can, but I refuse to do something else to get ahead.
Great, love that advice, and I love Irvin Johnson when he was a Seattle Supersonic. Not before that. So, yeah. What does success mean to you? Success
means to accomplish some dreams, but watching the hard work come together and the process and the vision. I think success is being able to overcome the adversity in what you're trying to achieve. So that's success to me, overcoming adversity.
Awesome. Where's your happy place? Because we all know at times, you know, tough losses, you know, talked about recruiting earlier, someone you put your work into. Like, where's your happy place?
When I'm at home chilling with my family, that's promise. That's my happy place. Because I can come home and obviously I'm going to be me outside of my home, but when I can just come home and relax and just chill, turn my phone off and just kind of soak up, you know, life, being proud to be alive, man. You know, I just enjoy that time at home. I'm a homebody, so just when I can come home and chill, I'm always in that happy space.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. If you had to choose 3 adjectives to describe yourself, which would you choose? I know you're not a self-promoter, but which would you choose?
Aggressive, relentless, loyal.
I like those.
Yeah.
I like those. I like those.
Loyal. Mm-hmm.
What qualities do you value in the people with whom you spend time?
I value people who value their family. I value people who cherish their own lives. I value people who care about others. I choose at this age to be around people who care more about them others than themselves, and I like to be around people who are humble, because at the end of the day, when this life is over with, we all gonna be in the same place. So I do not want to associate with people who think they're above and better than the next man. That's just me.
That's deep right there.
Mm-hmm.
What person and or event has had the most influence on your life?
The Rodney King riots, 1992, April 29th. That's April 29th is my birthday. So the day the riots took off, I was in the 8th grade. And that event will stick with me forever. Obviously, I told you I was from South Central LA, but that happened right around the corner from my house where the riot started. So that taught me, I turned 14 that day, that life is not as innocent as I once thought it was. We have a lot of hurt people. This country was been through a lot, and that taught me right there at 14 that it's not equal out here. So I learned a lot. Rodney King taught me and showed me what this whole thing was about.
Awesome. Well, that's powerful. How has coaching affected your life?
Well, coaching is affecting my life tremendously. It takes a lot out of you emotionally, mentally, and physically, because you give so much into these young people. You're trying to pour what you have into them. And so it definitely takes a lot out, but I'm learning to keep me filled up too. And that's with family, that's with love. And if I can be filled up, I can be able to pour into somebody else's life, abundantly.
Great answer, man. Who are your role models in coaching and why? Do you have any?
Yeah. My role models is Bernie Bickerstaff, playing for him when I was in Charlotte. He taught me, he gave us all opportunities, but he was more father figure than tactician. He cared, he had love for us, and that was just that, and that was at the professional level, which something you see at the high school level. Mike Hopkins, the head coach at the University of Washington, he was my assistant at Syracuse. He taught me, he showed me the dedication of hard work as a coach, and then his unwavering passion for his players. He shed a lot of tears with probably players over the years, with me probably in particular, but I seen that his passion, and being that he was white and I'm black, he really cared. And I had a bunch of great coaches, but those two in particular, had left a long lasting impression on my life outside of basketball.
Hop is a great guy, man. I mean, that he is a great guy. A lot of people don't realize that he likes to laugh and joke, but he's a great guy. What energizes you and brings you excitement?
In terms of on basketball court or off the court?
Basketball court.
Oh, everybody knows me. I'm a defender, so I just love when somebody get a stop and you clap in their face and they can't do nothing and they think you fouling them, but they not. They think you being guarded by 7 people, but there's only one. That's the satisfaction I get in basketball. Period. Shut them down. Defense. The defensive side of the ball is what brings satisfaction to me.
There are people in the business that stereotype former NBA players or coaches when they take a job in college. I mean, in college basketball. I mean, they do. But what was your biggest transition after playing in the NBA to a college basketball assistant?
Well, prior to becoming a college basketball assistant, I wanted to learn the nature. I wanted to learn the environment. So I started coaching AAU. I started driving that van from LA to Vegas, all around local tournaments, and just trying to figure out who is who and what is what. I wanted to understand the landscape. So the parents were much different when I got into the business as opposed to my parents was in the business. So I needed to learn that. And then coaching high school, I was able basically to be with these guys for 8, 9 months. AAU was 2 months. So I was able to see them on a daily, hear their language, see what music they're listening to, see how their mind is being shaped and transformed. And then I learned social media as a big part of that. I didn't know that. So social media causes a lot of anxiety. It's one of the leading causes of our mental illness of our student athletes, high school and college and pro. So I had to learn all that. And I did that because I didn't want people to say I just got on because I was a pro. I think that actually hurts you being a pro because people think that you're not going to work and you lazy, a term that I hate to anybody to say of African Americans descent lazy. But I wanted to show my worth and show that I was more just a former NBA player. I wanted to be a college coach, and these are the steps I want to take to show you that I'm going to be a diligent worker.
Awesome answer. And it's interesting you say that because that is the label, but I was fortunate to work with two guys, and you played in the league probably 2 years with one of them, and y'all had the same career as another one. I worked with Brian Stiff at Old Dominion, and then I worked with Speedy Claxton at Hofstra. So I've worked with two NBA guys, and those guys worked their butt off as college coaches. You would have never known, as everybody stereotyped these guys, they were NBA guys. And I see you doing the same thing. So those guys were outstanding. They learned, they picked it up quickly, man, and they're very good. And both of them will be head coaches as well someday. I've actually interviewed both of those guys as well. But
just to touch on what you said, we always, and I appreciate you acknowledging me, hopefully to become a head coach, but we got to do more in terms of us as assistants to let people know that we're more than ready. And while we're getting ready to become head coaches, we got to obviously continue to develop, but it's not a shoe-in because the numbers saying different. You know what I mean? The numbers are totally saying different. So we got a lot of work to do ahead of us, but we got to also let the masses know that we're ready and we're learning and we always coaching to get better.
So true. And I like to end with this question a lot of times. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self to prepare for as an assistant coach?
Just to have patience. It's not going to happen overnight. Have patience, be diligent, and stay down with your grind and don't try to, skip steps. So I could tell my younger self to now, stay patient. It will happen.
Well, I want to say, man, thank you again, Jason, for being a guest on the show and being unmasked. Anything you want to leave the people with before we go?
I just want to say thank you, obviously, for having me on this platform. And it's always important that assistant coaches get their voice out. I think what you're doing is extremely important, man, for our culture. And I just want to let everybody know, all the African-American coaches, is continue to have cultural responsibility. That means protecting our culture. And then with us being men in position of power, we got responsibility to uphold as well. So cultural responsibility is what I'm pushing, man. And, continue to get our network out and our branding and our platform through interviews like this, man. So thank you so much.
Thank you for that, and then thank you for that last nugget. It was awesome. And I want to thank you, viewers, for watching another great show. Stay tuned for the next guest as we get them unmasked. See you next time, and stay safe.